there's got to be more to life than this. Maybe you've found yourself wondering just that. Maybe you lay awake at night sometimes wondering about that. And even though you've found some success, even though you've won the awards, you still think there's got to be more. I'm Jeff Lovell. I'm a expert guide and coach to successful creative executives. I love helping people build a life they love with people they love so they can still accomplish their most important work. And today I want to talk about how do we find the more to life that we're looking for. A lot of people don't know where to look. And a lot of times what happens is we're looking around at our reality and we're asking the question, well, I look around and I don't like what I see. I don't like the reality. I'm wondering, where can I find more? And while a lot of us spend a lot of time looking around out there for more purpose, for better relationships, for a sense of wellness and wholeness, or a sense of making a lasting contribution in the world, this tool I want to show you today actually helps us begin to look somewhere else first. As a coach, one of the things I know that we all have to do is we have to grow in our sense of self-awareness. Before we can just make changes out there, I want to help people look inside and say, are there changes you can make in you? And this tool helps us do that. So instead of just starting out here with our reality, what we begin to do is actually trace things back to things going on inside of us. And what we recognize is that all of us have tendencies. Things that we do just because it's how we're wired. It's just who we are. We all have these tendencies, good and bad. Some of us are really supportive and helpful and outgoing, or others are more maybe withdrawn or harsh, or all these different kind of tendencies that we have. Some people tend to follow through or to be early, or we all have different kinds of tendencies. Maybe think about what some of your tendencies might be. And these tendencies aren't necessarily on their own good or bad, but the trick is that they create these patterns of behavior. Oh, she's always late, or he's always kind of critical. These patterns of behavior that happen because of our tendencies and the continual actions that we take as a result of them. If you keep being harsh with your kids, if you're always late to the meetings, if you're always kind of on your phone rather than connected when your spouse is talking to you, these actions that we take have consequences over time. And these consequences really are what oftentimes help create the reality that we're living in. You can see how the reality that we're living in oftentimes, if your spouse is angry with you, might be traced back to this tendency I have to not be present. Or if I'm always late paying my bill, right? You can imagine that would be create the reality of, there's some financial consequences there that lead to a reality of being financially stressed out. So our reality is often a result of our tendencies. Now what this tool does is it helps us begin to trace that back. Hey, if there's something I don't like that's happening in my life, well, what is that a consequence of? Are there actions that I'm taking? Is there a tendency that I have that's helping to create that reality? And then I can begin to ask this question, well, what do I know about myself? So if I know this thing about myself, if I know that I have this tendency, then I can lead myself in a new way. I don't have to become a victim of my tendencies. I can begin to take new actions. If my tendency is always to overeat that bag of Doritos, then maybe I could take a new action and stop buying Doritos. You with me? Right? So if I know things about myself, I can lead myself in new directions. Sometimes when we don't like how life is going, when we think there's got to be more to life than this, the question isn't just, what do I need to change out there? But how can I begin to look at what's happening in me? How is what I'm experiencing a consequence of even some of my own actions, my own patterns, my own tendencies? How do I learn to know those things about myself and lead myself in some new directions? And one last thing I want you to notice about this tool, the Know Yourself to Lead Yourself tool, is that it's in the shape of an infinity loop. We never get to graduate from the school of self-awareness. There's always more to learn about who we are and how our actions and patterns and tendencies are creating the world around us and impacting others around us. To help you build a life you love with people you love, it's essential that you slow down and begin to know yourself and your own tendencies better so you can lead yourself in new directions. This is some of the work I love to do in the Great Life Project. If you'd like to learn more about that, feel free to jump on my website and schedule a call, or leave a comment below and we'll get our own conversation started. I look forward to talking to you soon.